Sorry. So why a researcher need to use survey research? Okay. Um, why a researcher has to use survey research? Versatility. Okay. Low investment. And then accuracy and efficiency. These are the main reasons. What is versatility? Versatility in survey research is surveys can be conducted through various methods. Okay, like it's not that you have to go in person. You can do a telephonic interview or a face-to-face online survey. This makes data collection more convenient and ensures maximum participation. Like nowadays we have Google Forms. Okay, without going to the person itself, you can distribute the Google Forms. There are various methods by which you can send the links of the survey forms and then get the data collected. Based on that also you can do. So that is the kind of what is a advantage we have while doing a survey research. Low investment. Depending on the method, surveys are relatively inexpensive. Okay, especially with the online surveys, you can save a lot of money and increase potential response compared to the to paper or phone surveys. Okay, so this is like the way in which we try to what to say do the survey will reduce our cost. For example, when we are students, okay, when we want to do a research, normally we give some assignments. Research assignments for our students. Okay, they cannot spend a lot of money going to the field, meeting each and every person, spend a lot of time for collecting the data. So in that way, this kind of what to say analysis will be or the methodology will be very easy for students. Okay, so this is one advantage and accuracy. Surveys offer respondent a level of anonymity, which can encourage honesty and openness in response. Like you normally in this process, the respondents feel very safe or because you are not going to get their individual data. I mean, many survey questionnaires or interview schedules will be having like particular questionnaires will be having it will not ask the name or their identity. Okay, it's not needed. Okay, it's not mandatory. So in that case, no, the accuracy and of the data increases. The respondents also is ready to give their what is the information very without any bias, okay, or without any restrictions. Efficiency is like surveys allow researchers to collect data from large population efficiently. Like with standardization, standardized questionnaire, data can be gathered from a broad geographic area or group in a relatively short time frame. So this can be possible because when you are handling large scale population as your sample, okay, so in that case you can have a standardized questionnaire and then you can go for data collection and gather a lot of information within a short. So this is efficient in a sense. So this is one of the main advantage. So versatility, low investment, accuracy and efficiency are the main what to say reasons or advantages why we use survey research. So what are the advantages? Okay, like the earlier why we are using there and what are the advantages of survey? Like accessibility and convenience. Okay, cost effectiveness. This already we have seen. Advanced questionnaire design. Okay, many a times now we use standardized questionnaire. Okay, already standardized tested questionnaires we use. So like we can use a lot of advanced questionnaire design. So we are going to see what are all the various kinds of questionnaire that we are going to use in the latter part. So real-time processing and then improved data visualization and analysis. So nowadays we have a lot of softwares or statistical techniques that we can use where we can process the data in real time and then we can give data analysis or like you can present visually also. Now we have a lot of AI tools that can give you a good what to say presentation how of the data. Okay, multi-centric studies and collaboration can be done, and then ethical considerations, data security and privacy. So these are all the advantages of survey research. So where do problems with survey research comes from? Okay, so many a times we face problems through the sampling issues. Okay, like we can say while we are selecting the sample type. Okay, what type of sampling that we are going to use. Later on, I think you will be seeing about what to say, like different types of sampling, probability, non-probability, and for what kind of research, what kind of samples has to be used. All these things are more important. So non-response bias, this we have already many times we will what to say, get non-responsiveness from the sample, and then sometimes leading questions will be there in the questionnaire, unless otherwise it's a standardized questionnaire. Or when you frame your own questionnaire for the survey, then leading questions will be there. Like some people write a question having some preconceived notion in about the sampling population, and then they write leading questions. Okay, and then response option, because nowadays we have this ethical consideration. So we give informed consent before the survey is happening. So you have to explain them at any point of time. You can quit the survey if it is relevant to you, or if it is if you are not comfortable in answering the questions. So these options are given. So many a times some people may not be very happy to fill the questionnaires and other kind of problems. So the response option is given to them. So order effects. Like normally the way in which the questionnaire is framed, and how what are the orders in which the questions are there, that also affects the survey. Okay, like researchers should be very, very, very careful in putting the order of the questions. Okay, like leading questions, or contra what to say, what we say that contradictory questions will have a lot of problems. So social desirability bias, already we have told. So you are from a particular group of what to say, in a social hierarchy. So you have a kind of what to say, a bias towards that group, or you have a kind of certain notion on the group in which you are doing the research. All these things are possible. So misinterpretation of the data. Again, this is a problem that normally social science researcher faces, misinterpretation. Okay, like the data will say one thing, and then we try to what is write something else. Okay, we without understanding the proper nature of the data. Okay, sampling frame issues. Again, sampling issues itself is same. Like how you have to frame your samples. Okay, what sampling technique you are adapting, and how you're what to say, finalizing your sampling population, and then how you are trying to frame your samples. So self-selection bias. So normally in sampling only this happens. Okay, like sometimes convenient sampling researchers will be going for. Why? Because always some convenient sampling will have what to say, wherever you go, whomever you know, you try to interview and then give a data. Okay, so self-selection bias. These are some of the what to say problems that the survey researchers faces. So survey length. So sometimes when you use some standardized questionnaire, or when you have two or three more kinds of constructs in your data, or in your research study, the length of the survey will be going. For example, people who are very ambitious in framing their research questions, and they will have a lot of concepts to be studied. So for each and everything, they will be having different. One of my student research scholar did on like social connectedness and socialization of children in the school, and their performance in their what to say, schooling, something like that. It was that. So for each and everything, she has to have a standardized questionnaire, and then it was a very lengthy question. Unless otherwise administered personally, giving them some time and explaining the questionnaire, the children will not answer that. So survey length also depends. For example, you are saying that this survey will take half an hour of time or 45 minutes. You have to sit patiently and answer the question. Now, many people will skip. They will say, I have no, what to say, I will not give you consent for answering the question. Okay. They will, if you say only, it will take a short time of you, like 5 minutes or 6 minutes or 7 minutes only. We have very, what is a short questionnaire for you, then people may be interested in doing that. That is the main thing that survey research, I would say, problem that we face. Cultural and language differences. I think many of you will know about this. Like when you do a research in a varying culture, okay, that culture is not known to you, okay, and when you have language differences also, it was very, very difficult to do a survey research. Normally, that's why we prefer same, whenever we do a research projects and all, the research assistant or the interviewer will be in from the same culture and the same area. Preference will be given because they know the language and they know about the culture of the people there. So it will be very easy for them to mingle with them, have a social rapport, and then collect their data. Otherwise, it will be difficult. And if you are studying a different culture also, first thing the researcher has to do is to learn the culture or to know about the culture of the particular place where, for example, a researcher from North India is coming to Tamil Nadu and staying here and trying to do a research on the Tamil population. Then the researcher first should understand the culture of the place where he or she is staying, and then the language also they have to learn. Then only they can go and communicate with the sample, and then they can get a effective data. So this is more important, cultural and language differences. Without this, the research will not be, a survey research cannot be performed very efficiently. Data entry and coding errors. So when you finish all the things now, like for example, you are doing 300, 400 samples, or in some large cases, we have 1,000, 2,000 samples in a research project. The problem here is how we enter the data. Okay, whether we enter the coding of the data and then data entry. So the respondent would have given some other response. Our data entry operator or the researcher himself or herself will go and press a different button or a different data. Okay, number. Then all these errors. So wherever possible, we should try to avoid all this data entry and coding errors. Okay, then only our research will give us the the correct results, not desired results. We cannot say desired results, correct results. So data entry and coding errors are always there, but we should have some checkpoints or contra questions which will make us to identify, because people who are well versed in SPSS and all will know about this. Okay, like how after coding your data, when you run a frequency distribution or a cross tabulation, you can easily identify where the problem is. Okay, where the problem has occurred, where there is some data errors. So some visible errors will be there, that there we can go and correct it very easily from the database. Otherwise, you should also have some techniques to do this. Then only your data is valid, or it has some, what to say, value for it. So these are the 4 steps. Okay, 4 steps in survey design. Define research objectives, develop survey questions, select survey method, and then pilot, test, and refine. Okay. So why to define our research objective? Okay, we should have specific goals and questions with us. Okay, whenever we try to do a research, we have to have a specific goal and question. Identify the target audience, who is going to be your sample. Okay, uh, and the data type consideration. Okay, what are the data type you are going to consider, like whether it is what is it, how we are going to do the data collection. All these things we have to decide. The second is develop survey questions. Okay, so normally we used to say now, like identify the research problem or the research question. So when you identify with the help of the review of literature, when you have identified your research problem, you have to give a what to say, the aim of the study, a broad aim of the study. From that, you are developing the objectives. Okay, sometimes it's 3 objectives, 4 objectives, or 5 objectives, depending upon your study. How many objectives you are having? Based on the objective, you develop a research question. Okay, what are the things that you are going to ask? Like research question is, what is the outcome of the research will be. So based on that only, you are going to formulate the questionnaire for your research. Okay, like from the variables that you are going to construct. Okay, what are the variables that has to be studied in your study, and how you will get the answers for your question, research questions. So develop a survey question. Okay, clarity and conciseness should be there. You should avoid bias, and there are different types of question formats that we are going to discuss in the later part of this presentation, and logical sequencing should be there. So, so there is a process of how we are going to do the questionnaire. Okay, so select a survey method, whether it's a self-administered or interviewer administered, and what is the cost of the thing. How normally research scholars do their data collection by themselves only. They don't have money, and they don't have, I think, will do it with the help of a interviewer. But when it comes to a project or some funded project and other things, their interviewer will be there. So interviewer administered, whether the researcher themselves are going to administer it, or it is going to be like you are going to what is it, appoint a person to administer. So all these things should be clarified. And cost and accessibility. What is the cost involved in that? And the respondent engagement, how we are going to engage the respondent. Normally, I think in the later part of this sessions, you will be having how you, when you go for data collection, how you create a rapport among the respondents. Like straight away, you go and ask them that I am so and so, and I come for doing this research. Give me the answers. No, people will not do that. And nowadays, there are strict regulations to approach the respondent itself. Okay, as I told you, ethical considerations are there where you cannot just like that go and without their permission, we cannot seek data. Uh, or what to say, we have to properly explain the reason for that. And then normally what happens, okay, many people who have experience in the field research, they will be knowing that. Normally, when you go to villages or people, they expect something from you. Like their expectation is totally different. I'm not telling about all the people, but there are certain group of people. When you go with a kind of, what to say, a researcher kind of thing, and they will be saying some government official has come to take some data from you, and they'll be getting some benefit out of. Normally, normal people will think like that. But when you explain that this is not for their benefit, or no government is involved, we are doing a survey or research, people may not very happy to help you. Sometimes there are people to do that, but many times we will have a lot of problems in engaging the respondent itself. This has to be, what to say, clarified. Many a times now we sit in the classroom and discuss about all this research. When you go to the field, upside down, all these things will be there. So this is one thing. So whenever the next step is you're going for like a pilot test and refine the things, then there will be a kind of, what is a understanding about the field or your respondent, how they will respond to your thing. So testing the questionnaire, or what are relevant things that you have, or irrelevant questions you are asking, which is not applicable to the respondent in your area, in your area of research. All these things will be done. So pilot test the thing, and then you're trying to refine the questionnaire. So far we have been discussing on what survey research is. Now we will move on to the next thing, that is questionnaire. What is a questionnaire? How a questionnaire can be framed, or how a questionnaire can be done. So a questionnaire is a written list of questions. This everyone knows, the answers to which are recorded by the respondents. Okay. So in a there is a difference between the interview schedule and a questionnaire. I think many of you know that. Can anyone tell me what is the difference between an interview schedule and a questionnaire? Students, research students or students who are in the meeting? Because I'm speaking for a longer time. I don't know whether people are listening to that or not. Can
Good
anyone
evening,
tell?
sir.
Ah,
Sir, in questionnaire, we have options like sometimes yes or no, or maybe it is structured in that way. And in interview, we have a open-ended questions also, and we can get a in-depth information from the respondent also.
thank you for answering. Your name?
Dr. Shelley.
Yeah. Any other input in this regard?
Sir, can I speak in Hindi?
Yes, sir. If people, I'm not very well versed in Hindi, you can speak, no problem.
सर इंटरव्यू शेड्यूल में हम मतलब सीधे रिस्पोंडेंट से आमने सामने होके उससे हम क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं, अगला आंसर देता है, भरते हम स्वयं हैं। और क्वेश्चनर में रिस्पोंडेंट जो होता है, रिस्पोंडेंट स्वयं भरता है और मेनली वही भरता है, और उसको हम भेज भी सकते हैं ऑनलाइन, जैसे व्हाट्सएप पे या और माध्यम से, डाक के माध्यम से हम उसको रिस्पोंडेंट के पास भेज सकते हैं। उसमें चैलेंजेस ये होते हैं कि रिस्पोंडेंट हमको फिर से वो भर के पहले तो भरता है कि नहीं और भर के फिर भेजता है कि नहीं, ये चैलेंजेस हमारे पास क्वेश्चनर को करने में लगते हैं सर, होते हैं।
Thank you, sir. I think I understood what you said. Actually, the main difference between a questionnaire and interview schedule is questionnaire or as he said, I think we are giving the questionnaire to the respondent and the respondent is filling the questionnaire. Okay. It may be directly you go and meet the respondent and give the questionnaire to them, or through Google
Yes,
Forms
sir.
or through some other form, you are giving the questionnaire to them. They respondent themselves filling the forms. But the interview schedule is like the interviewer has to go personally, meet the person, you ask the question to them, get the answers, you record it. Okay, the researcher. For example, I am the researcher, you are the respondent. I will ask the question. Okay, what is your name? What is your age? What is your occupation? So you tell, I will write. Okay, that is called as interview schedule. So that is a major difference. A questionnaire can also be administered as an interview schedule. Okay, and this is the main difference, okay, between a questionnaire and when you say questionnaire, when you say interview schedule, okay. So in a questionnaire, respondents read the questions, interpret what is expected, and then write down the answers. So they themselves write down the answers. Like you say, like characteristics of a good questionnaires are like logical, systematic, and structured. So that's what sequential, like what is it? A logical flow of questions should be there, and then it is systematic and then structured. Okay, so all the respondents will get the same type of questions, and then they will be answered. I don't know how many of you have seen a Pakka questionnaire. Like some samples are there, but when you say go for a National Family Health Survey questionnaire, or now they are going to do the what is it? Census. So they will be having a bunch of what is it questionnaires where they will try to get all the type of data, okay, from the respondents. Okay, so that is very logical, systematic, and structured. So logical flow of questions, easy and pleasant layout will be there. So people will be understanding and trying to see the questionnaire, they will be very happy to address that simple and lucid language. You may be very well versed in English or in your mother tongue also in very good, but you should not put a lot of vocabulary which cannot be understandable. The words should be very simple. Okay, if you put a lot of words which is not understandable, then they will be asking you what is the reason, or some people may not have time to go and check the meaning for the words and then try to understand, or they will be randomly taking out the questions and going. if they are not, what to say, having a good connection with the questionnaire. No grammatical or spelling errors should be there. So our questionnaire, that's why it's very well structured. Okay, everything should be neat and clean there. No errors or spelling errors or grammatical errors should be there. No lead questions leading to assumptions. So you should not ask a question like giving answer to the question. What you are thinking about a particular thing, whether this or that, like that, you should not lead an answer. Like some people want a desirable answer. For that, we will be asking. Okay, like saying what to say, only you say yes or no, or like what to say, asking about a opinion on a particular thing. So people may not, what to say, understand it properly, or it will only give a particular type of answer to you. That is called as leading question.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, in
Ah.
the questionnaire, it may be not 100% true. Some may be 50% and some other may be. But in the case of interview, it's
Ah.
factual. Whenever question asks the, candidate or whatever, they give the right one. If he doesn't know, no. But if it's okay, okay. So it is as compared to questionnaire and interview is come to the factual one. That's what I want to share.
Yeah, that's correct only. Nowadays, I'm telling you, earlier researchers, everyone will be going and meeting people and spending time with them, and then doing the research. In that case, lot of, as you rightly pointed out, lot of good data was available in that type of research. Nowadays, I'm getting a lot of what to say, Google Forms for research. Whenever I have time, I will be opening and seeing it. Okay, sometimes now lot of questions will be there, like strongly agree, disagree, like that. So randomly you see one word and put like that only. The people may not be very what to say. Sometimes they don't spend a lot of time to answer. So interview schedule are very best thing, that best method of collecting data. In some way, or in some cases, now we may not have time, or we are compelled to do the questionnaire method. That's what there is a
Sir, I
method.
would like to add.
Yeah.
Sir, I would like to add.
Ah.
When we do questionnaire,
Mm.
we can do it in limited amount of time.
Mm.
But for interview schedule, it entirely goes on to the situational understanding between the interviewer and the one who's responding. So it might go for a lengthy period of time. So I
Mm.
believe that's the difference between the two as well.
Yeah. That's what in some it may vary from one case to other case. Okay, depending upon the type of research. For example, you are having a big questionnaire. Okay, you can say to the respondent, "I'm sending it online, or I'm giving you the questionnaire. Whenever you feel free, you spend some time and fill the questionnaire and give it to me." You cannot sit with them all the time and ask him to fill up the questionnaire. Okay, so in that way also, that's what I'm saying. It has both advantages and disadvantages. Both what to say, like both interview and questionnaire. Okay. Designing a questionnaire. Okay, how we are trying to designing questionnaire. Decide the information required. That is whenever you are doing this, you will be having this, what to say, the variables or your research question with you, which has to be answered. So that is where you have to decide the information required. Define the target respondent. So based on the target, who is your target respondent? Whether it's school children, or what to say, college students, or what to say, old people, or retired people, or housewives, something like the based on the person whom you are going to do the research. Okay, choose the method of reaching your target respondent. Okay, how you are going to reach, whether through an interview schedule or a questionnaire, or questionnaire now where you're going to go and personally meet them and give the questionnaire, a printed questionnaire, or you're going to do it online, how you're going to convince them for the research, all these things are there. So decide on the question content. Okay. So you may use your review of literature or earlier done research for doing this. Okay. Based on the content only, what are the questions that you are going to keep in that. So develop the question wording, okay? And then put questions into a meaningful and ordered format. This is more important, okay? Like for example, set of you can divide your questionnaire into different parts, okay? First comes the personal data or the demographic or socio-demographic data, and then comes a particular variable you have important thing. For that you have a set of questionnaire, and then various order and format should be there. Check the length of the question. Most probably, every person will find it very difficult in this case. So they'll be happy if you have a very short questionnaire. For example, it's not taking more than 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, even shorter will have a good response for you. And then pre-test the questionnaire. Why? I already told about piloting or pre-testing. Why? Because irrelevant questions you can avoid. Straight away, you're going to the respondent and administering the questionnaire. That time you will be, these are all not relevant to this population. That will be there. So you go try to pre-test the questionnaire and find out or get feedback from the respondent. They will be the right person to tell you whether this kind of questions will be applicable to them or not. For example, going and asking students about, a simple example I will tell you, whether you are married or not. In a school, children, okay, that is an irrelevant question there, okay. When you go and do a research with school children or these are some of the kind of things. So in the research also, we will have a lot of simple questions which is not relevant to the population. So you can avoid all these things and then develop the final survey form. So these are the steps, okay, involved in designing a questionnaire. Convert a research objective to information. Okay, this is what I told you, because always our research objective will be converted into what information we need from the respondents. Okay, so that's why research questions are very important, and then research objectives, variables of the study, directions of the hypothesis, and then characteristics of the population. These are all that we have to keep in mind. So, for example, here, an example is given here, like what is the nature of plastic bag usage among people in NCR, National Capital, okay? So this is the research question. So for that, what are the objectives of the research? To identify the different usage of plastic bags, to find out the disposable methods of plastic bags, to find out who uses plastic bag. So here variables are usage behavior and demographic details. Information is use of plastic bags and its disposable. Population, consumers and retailers. Okay. So like this, you should have a clear information. Based on this only, we will formulate the question. Second one is, first one is decide the information required. Second one is define target population. Okay. So what is that? Target population is like is the total group of individuals from which the sample for the study is drawn. So you have a sampling population. In that, the sample size is your target population. So it is a collection of elements or objects that possesses information sought by the researcher and about which the inferences is to be made. So how we are going to infer from the data that you have collected. So it can be defined in n number of ways, such as elements, sampling unit, extent, geolocation, time, etc. Okay. Sometimes decided based on the certain criteria. It is essential to decide the adequacy of the sample size. So how much now we have a lot of formulas and all, like Reggie-Morgan formula is there. Different researchers use different formulas for understanding or getting the sampling population. For example, it is like more than 10,000 or more than that. A sampling population of 352 or 365 or something like that will be given by the formula. So based on that, you try to identify the sample size. Based on that, you have to understand the sampling technique and then administer that. So these are the various methods of reaching the target respondent. Like We have a self-administered questionnaire or interview administered. Self-administered itself, we have internet and intranet mediated questionnaire. Postal questionnaires are there. Delivery and collection questionnaire are there. So earlier, people used to do this, okay? Like they will send the questions by post, printed questionnaire, and then they'll be asking them to fill it up and then give it back. And then interview administered is telephone questionnaire or structured interview. Like for example, you appoint a person or you yourself call the person and interview administer the questionnaire, or go and in person also you can administer the thing. So these are methods of reaching out the respondent, target respondents. You can see here what is the effectiveness of these control sensitive issues, new concept, large sample, cost time taken. So schedule as high, okay, high control, high sensitive, new concepts, high, large sample, schedule is having very low. So here you say by postal or email or web-based only is high here. So you can say cost and time also, schedule is having a higher cost, but when it comes to web-based or email-based, it's very low cost. So you can select your method, okay, with the help of this, what is it, thing with the chart. If you have a lot of money, you have time and all, you can go for a technique that it's time consuming and having a lot of cost. You don't have time, and based on your need only, that can be decided. So here you see it's a sample questionnaire, like how administration mode of questionnaire structure is there, like schedule. Like you say, now I am going to give a set of cards. Each card will have a name, one television, like that. You see the how you have to give instruction to them, and then how they are trying to get the answer from them. Okay, like telephone question also it is there. Like so, please listen carefully. I'm going to slowly read the names of the 10 popular TV serials. So here in the earlier thing, the respondent itself will physically order the television shows. Here, based on the respondent given on the telephone, the interviewer will select the options. That is the difference here. So mail questionnaire also same thing. The respondent themselves will do that. Okay. So for each and every type of thing, the instructions will be varying. Okay, so while designing the questionnaire, this is more important. Sometimes I see some questionnaire now without any instruction, because the respondent will have a lot of questions from us. Okay, what is this? What is that? How to answer this thing? I don't know. I cannot understand this. Like that, they'll be. So for each and every doubts a respondent will have, you should have a note for that. Okay, proper instruction should be given. Then only the respondent will be happily answering your question. So decide on question content. Okay, what will be the question? So here addressing very sensitive issues or sensitive questions. Here no question should be included unless data is that gives rise to testing one or more of the hypothesis. Okay. And then redundant questions can be accepted only for increasing the respondent interest. And dummy questions can discuss the purpose of the survey or the sponsorship of the study. So these are something like questions which are some questions are included to increase the interest of the respondent or to test certain things. Okay, like contradictory questions or questions which may give you a kind of knowledge about whether the respondent is consistently answering the question. Somewhere you'll be saying yes for something, and then the same type of question, if you have a checkpoint, you'll say no. So these kind of things also can be happening. So addressing sensitive questions, technique to address, like by showing cartoons or by asking the respondent to complete the sentence, sorting cards containing statements, pictorial skills. So these are all examples. Have you ever spit tobacco on the road? Like you can ask this question to a tobacco consumer. Okay, do you think tobacco consumers spit tobacco on the road? Like what to say? If they are not consuming, then you have to change the question like this for them. Okay, these are some of the things that when you address a sensitive thing, how to change the words or how to address the questioner. So the next thing is developing the question wording. Okay, while developing the questions, we have to be very careful in the wording. Like questions wording can influence your respondent answer, especially in the language is unclear, ambiguous, and biased. So some respondent may what to say, like not all the respondent also will have the problem of understanding the language that you have. That's why we told a clear, simple language should be there. Okay, good question need to be understood by all respondent in the same way and measures exactly whatever you're interested in. That is reliability and validity. So here, when you say that my questioner is a very good questioner, it should be understandable by all the respondents, because you will be having a respondent of similar criteria only. So all the respondents should understand the questioner very in the same manner also. You can measure exactly what you are interested in. So what is your interest? For example, you want to measure their satisfaction level or their self-esteem, something like that. Okay. So what variable you are trying to measure? The same thing only has to be measured there. So it provides the respondent with an easy method of indicating his or her answer. He does not have think about how to articulate his answer. So straight away, if you are having a question, they should be able to give the correct answer to you immediately. Okay. Sometimes whether they will be thinking, okay, some people, particularly researchers, if you circulate the question to the researcher, when I answer for this question in this way, what will happen to me or what people will think of me? Like when you ask some personal questions, okay, to some person, okay, you are giving a questionnaire to me and asking whether you smoke or whether you consume alcohol, how often you go to, a restaurant to consume alcohol, something like that. If you start asking, I will have a biased answer. Okay, I don't want to reveal my this is something I'm saying. Like, so you have to have a different kind of technique to ask this kind of question. Okay, it forms the respondent so that the respondent has to rely less on the memory in answering a question. So it should be spontaneous. So they should not go think and answer whether I can do this or not, like that. So response can be easily classified, making analysis very straightforward. Okay. So it permits the respondent to specify the answer categories most suitable for their purposes. Okay. So these are the things that lies in the wording of the questionnaire itself. So when you properly put the wording for the questionnaire, respondent will immediately answer whatever there in their mind. Okay. Genuine response you will get. Otherwise, it will lead to. So this is another thing, like there are certain tips that you have to remember to while forming a questionnaire. So one question should address one specific information at a time. So in a question itself, we are asking multiple things. They may answer only one of your questions. They will not answer all the questions. So you divide it. Many questions are there now. Okay. So you try to ask them what is a specific question on a specific item. Okay. Avoid redundant and leading questions. Like example, do you think that working mothers should buy ready-to-eat food when that might contain some chemical preservatives? What is the leading question here? Like you are yourself saying that it has chemical perspective, preservatives, whether to buy it or not. So they will be thinking, why, oh, chemical preservatives are there, why we will buy? Even though they are buying, they will say no. Okay, so these are, you are giving the answer to them that is leading to the answer. So avoid biased or negative question. Like, will you take dowry when you get married? If you ask this question now, many people will say no. Even though they are getting, if you ask me now, I will say no. But in reality, now what has happened? I have not asked for that. My father-in-law gave it to me. What is the problem in taking that? Like that, I will be asking you questions. Okay. So these are things, or kind of what to say, indirectly we can put a question, not directly, and these are biased questions. Avoid emotional or questions with pre-assumption. That's what I exactly. How many cigarettes do you smoke in a day? Or avoid double barrel questions. Do you think Nokia and Samsung have wide variety of touch phones? So whom, like this question itself has two options in that, like why to ask this? Okay, without naming them, you have to ask. Okay, that's a right way of doing. Avoid technical terms or jargons. Okay, well, forming a questionnaire. So next is order or formatting the questions. Like demographic questions are usually unaffected by order effects. Questions about opinions and attitudes are more susceptible to them. Okay. So first they will put the demographic question. Any questioner will have a demographic questions in the first order. Random order to express their agreement or disagreement with the different aspect of an issue. So this can be in random order because whenever you are asking for agreement and disagreement, it can be done like that. The themes of the study, starting with a simple theme and progressing to complex ones. Okay, when your study is very, what to say, having some sensitive information or something like that, start it very simple and then move on to the stronger one. So it sustains the interest and respondent and stimulates them to answer the question. So slowly, if you're going, then people will be, what to say, getting into the questionnaire and then they will start answering it very appropriately. Logical progression based upon the objective of the study. So it may condition a respondent to the opinions expressed by the researcher through the statements. So here, based on your statements, they should not have any conditions. Okay, so that is the way in which we have to ask the question. Again, length of the questionnaire, this we already discussed. It is the best for a questionnaire to be short as possible. Okay. A long questionnaire leads to a long interview, and this is open to a danger of boredom. Normally, it happens in many cases when there is, like, what is it? There will be boredom. The respondent may poorly consider and provide hurried answers. So when you are not giving enough time to them, or when you are having a very length, so they will be in a hurry and then they will not respond to you properly. Avoid interruptions by the third party. So when you are doing a interview thing, then you should be in a very closed environment or free from other distractions. Third party should not enter your thing. They should not do some other work and start answering your questions. Okay, that also will distract the respondent. So in a rural situation, it should be not last longer than 30 to 45 minutes. Okay, so these are the points for length of the questionnaire. Pre-test the questionnaire. So the purpose of pre-testing the questionnaire is to determine whether the questions as they are worded will achieve the desired results. So when you go and administer the question personally, for example, you want to do it questionnaire itself, not interview schedule, but when you want to pre-test it, advice is go and yourself administer the question with the respondent. Then only you will understand the consistency of the questions. Okay, what we have, the wording, how the respondent is trying to understand the question, whether it's in the right form, all these things you will understand, whether the questions have been placed in the best order. So while writing or when you're seeing the proof and all, it will be good only. But when you won't administer that, then only you'll understand the inconsistency in the order of the questions, whether the questions are understood by all class of respondents. For example, rich people will be there, poor people will be there, or learned people will be there, illiterate people will be there. So all people should understand your question. Okay, whether additional or specifying questions are needed, whether some questions should be eliminated. So sometimes now you will find we have to ask more questions on this area. That kind of things also will come. So in that case now you have to add or eliminate some questions. Okay, some questions are irrelevant, then you can eliminate them. Whether the instruction to the respondents are adequate. That's what I told you. Instructions are very, very, very important in a questionnaire. Okay. So whatever information you are given as instruction, the respondents are happy with that, or they can understand the questionnaire, that is sufficient for answering the thing. So final form of questionnaire, structure of the questionnaire. Provide covering letter with ethical statement consideration. So this is the first one. Your questionnaire should have the first page covering letter. You have to introduce yourself, your research, what is this about, the research about, and then and the ethical consideration, informed consent, other things should be there. Translation of questionnaire if needed. Sometimes you administer it in English or in your own language, for example, Tamil or Hindi or Malayalam or Telugu, any language, that translation should be there along with them. Or you can give the translated questionnaire itself. So nowadays, in all researchers, people are very specific about the language. When you're doing it in the native language, then you have effectiveness in the research. So many of the researchers now they translate their questionnaire, give it for validation. Like you have to go to a language expert and you have to also compare the English version and the translated version, whether it is conveying the same meaning. That and all people are asking now. While we are doing research, particularly in our institution, the translation certificate should be there. For example, a Tamil teacher or a Tamil professor has to certify that this both the English questionnaire and Tamil translated questions are having the same meaning. Okay, when translated. Divide the questionnaire into sections based on the objectives and themes. This we have already discussed. Adequate space for answering questions. Sometimes now people will be having a big answer, but you would have given only to, for example, a open-ended questionnaire. You will be giving very less space, but they want to write more on their opinion. And then you have to understand that, and then you have to give a bigger space for that. Ensure reliability and validity of the questions. This again by pre-testing we'll be doing that. And then content of the covering letter. What are there you have to like introduce you and the institution, the objective and relevance of the study, convey any general instructions that you have for the question. Ethical rights and informed consent should be there. Provide a contact details, give a written address and deadline. Thank them for their participation in this. This is more important. Many times in some research, I have not seen some scholars thanking their respondent during the viva and all. You should have that, because they are very important for you when you have done the research. So initially while collecting the data itself, you have to thank them. Okay, like you have given your valuable time to me, and then you have given all these things should be there. Then only people will be very much interested in participating in your research. So the next thing is any thing that people want to ask, because any doubts or any discussion. It's already 1 hour passed, I think. So more than 1 hour also. Okay, I'm monotonously I'm speaking. Whether I am on the right path. Any observations or feedback?
Good evening, sir. Sir, your presentation is not at all monotonous. It is very good, and we are understanding each and every aspect.
Thank you very much. Sorry. So next is the steps, okay, involved in questionnaire formation. Like we say, from the objectives to the question. So here there are some examples. Okay, you can go through this, or I will share the PPT also with the organizer. If you can you make use of the material. So how the steps are there? Like you see, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Like to find out the understand. This is the objective of a particular research. Okay, to find out the understanding of the concept, community responsiveness among health administrators, service providers, and consumers. So, associated research question: why is community responsiveness? What is community responsiveness? What is the information required perception of community responsiveness? How to ask a question on that? What do you mean by community responsiveness? When do you use it? What is your opinion on it? What are its characteristics? Like that, there are various questions you can ask, which is relevant. This is an example only I'm saying. So like this, slowly you have to have the steps. These are the steps involved in questionnaire formation. So another one, to identify the strategies needed to foster community responsiveness in health service sector. What is the research question here? What are the different perceptions of community responsiveness among health administrative services? So information required is occupation status. So categorize your job, whether you are a health administrator or a service provider or a consumer. So this is needed there. So the next you see, to develop a set of indicators to evaluate the effectiveness of the strategies to foster community responsiveness. Here, what is the this is the objective. What is the research question? Providers and consumers. Okay, like both are. I think. Sorry. Uh, this both research questions are together here. So demographic things like age, gender, and education. Here, question is like, what is your age, what is your gender, what is the education status and qualification. So, for each and every objective or research question, what is the associated research question you are having, and how you will convert it into what information is required, and what is the question you are going to ask. So, there are simple steps, okay, that we can follow and convert. So your objective should not be something, and then what all questions you are asking should go in some other way, and then finally you are not getting the answer for your research questions. Okay, so you should be very careful in developing it. So these are some of the types of questions. One is open-ended, and second one is closed-ended. Here, open-ended, you are having a question. The answer is open to the respondent to answer. Like we can say these are inquiries that cannot be answered with simple yes or no. They require elaboration. Okay. In open-ended question, the openness refers to the options of answering in one's own word. So if you ask me a question, I will write my own words. Okay, what all thing that comes to my mind. They also refer to as unstructured question or free response or free answer question. For example, what do you think the best about new education policy? So people will be writing, okay, what are the things whether it's best or not, they will be writing. Which is your favorite TV serial? They will be writing a lot of what are there, or I don't like TV serial. I am not watching TV serial, like that. They will be writing. I like Nescafe because something like these are open-ended questions. Closed-ended question, like it looks for a specific fact or answer, often requiring a single or one-word answer. These questions and response format are well structured and defined. Yes or no? Okay. Or agree, strongly agree, disagree. Or these kind of things are called as closed-ended questionnaire. So here you can see the chart. open-ended and closed-ended, response format, depth of response, flexibility, data type, complexity of analysis, and use cases. Okay. So what are the things in a open-ended questions? Participants provide detailed answer in their own words. Here, participant provide short response and choose from the provided categories only. So you are giving the category here. So response format. Depth of response, get in-depth and nuanced response, allowing the participant to express their opinion, feeling, and experience. But here, provide more concise response and are suitable for obtaining specific quantifiable information only. So see the differences, okay? But both are good, but there are different, areas in which you can understand. You want for example, you want to do a quantitative and a qualitative study. Then you can always use open-ended question because people will write their opinion there. So you can analyze the answers written by them. Okay, that will also act as a qualitative analysis. Okay, you can categorize that in different categories, and then you can write their opinions. Flexibility is allow for flexibility and unexpected insights. Participants have the freedom to share information beyond predefined categories. Okay, so but here now offer less flexibility as respondents choose from predetermined options, limiting the range of possible responses. That is the difference here. So here you are giving the you are giving a free hand to the respondent and they are giving the answers. Okay. So you may get new insights also, new kind of information also. But here you are limiting their things. That's the thing. Flexibility is not there in the closed end, but here flexibility is there. Data type, general qualitative data, providing a deeper understanding of participants. Here, generate quantitative data, allowing for statistical analysis and easy categorization. So this many researchers will be understanding. When you have a qualitative data, but for this also, there are a lot of softwares now available for analyzing the qualitative data also. Smart PLS or a lot of methodology has come to analyze that. Complexity of analysis require more complex analysis due to diverse nature of responses. That's what you have to sit slowly, understand what the respondents have written, how categorize them. Like a lot of techniques are available in qualitative that you have to analyze, but allow for straightforward analysis as responses can easily quantified and categorized. Okay. So use cases used in situations where detailed insights are needed, such as exploratory research and interviews. Here, use in situation where quick structured responses are needed, such as surveys and questionnaires. Okay. I think you can understand the both the advantages and disadvantages of this using a open-ended and closed-ended questions. And these are some other types of things that we have. One is dichotomous question and multiple choice question. What is dichotomous? Dichotomous questions these are the questions that ask only two possible answers, like yes or no, true or false, agree or disagree. Mostly addresses nominal level of measurement. This is called as nominal level of measurement. When you say measurements, nominal, ordinal, we'll be seeing that. So this is called as nominal level of measurement and categorical or binary in nature. So example, are you diabetic? Yes, no. Have you read books written by Dan Brown? Yes or no? Okay, like that only you will be answering. So you will be coding it in the thing like yes is 1, no is 0. Something like that coding they will be giving, and we are trying to analyze this data. Multiple choice questions, we have a lot of these are statement or assessment in which the respondent is asked to select best possible answers out of the list of answers. So like we have 1, 2, 3, 4 options. Okay. Mostly we have scaling, Likert scales and a 5-point scale, 7-point scale like that. So say similar type of answers will be there. That is scales. Here there are in multiple choice we have different types of answer itself that can be answered by the respondent. Will you consider selling organic products? in your store. Like there are different answers you can say, like definitely not, in the next 1 year, probably not. So different answers are there where the respondents can choose in the closed ended questionnaire. And these are other types of question, like rating question. These questions evaluate the particular character or behavior of the individual or object. They use a range of numerical values, words or phrases representing different levels. Like agree, strongly agree, like that we use now, like or rate the thing. Like these are called as, what to say, numerical or word phrase or different levels. And then ranking questions are there. These questions enable to understand the preference of the respondent, ranking, ordering. Like whom do you choose? For example, you give a list of players, who is first in your mind, to whom you, or you say like 4, 5 actors name, who is your best, like you are giving some rank order, or which food you prefer most. Like that you give a lot of scale questions are there, like a question that presents respondents in a predefined answer choices, in which there is a range of words or numbers that represent wide spectrum of audience opinions, attitude, perception, etc. That's what I said about the scales, Likert scale, 5-point scale, 3-point, 4-point scales, like 7-point scales are there that we'll be seeing. So next comes scaling. Okay, what is that? The concept, it is a general idea developed by definite instances or occurrence in related research study. So concept, while understanding scaling, now you should understand this thing. Concept, construct. What is a concept? What is a constructor? What is variable? What is scale? Okay. Concept is about the research problem that you are studying. Okay. So it's a general idea developed from definite instances or occurrence in related research study. Okay. Construct is certain type of concept which explains properly the overall research study and contain the thoughts at different directions to clarify complex research study. So from the concept, you are trying to derive your construct. Okay, certain type of concept which explains properly the overall research study and contain the thoughts, the different directions to clarify complex research study, predominantly constructed for theoretical evidence. Okay, when you apply a theory in your research, you are trying to apply a construct. Okay, you are developing a construct to explain that how that theory is relating to your concept. Okay, then variable. From the concept, a concept that can be measured mostly by using a scale is called as a variable. So variables, you have to derive variable from your concept. Measuring the variable is like how to measure, we'll be seeing. Okay, scale is, it is the set of numbers or symbols created in a specific manner to help the research maintain certain rules. Scaling developed a continuum on which measurements are located. So scale, like we'll be saying now 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. There is a scale in which you are having the answers to be that we'll be seeing now. So how we are converting our concept into variables? You see concept, indicators, and variables. Here you see the concept in the chart given is rich. Rich is a concept. Another concept is educational status. What are the indicators of rich? Income, assets. Okay. What are the variables that you can, like income per year, month, assets possessed. Decisions, like whether below or above a particular range of income or money, then you can decide whether they are very rich or poor or below poverty or something like that. You can decide. Education status, again, aggregate marks, average marks, CGPA, all are indicators. So variables, you have to ask like total percentage or what is the total mark or percentage of marks. You can have a decision like whether it's above average or below average, all this decision you can make. So for each and everything, we will have a kind of variables how to do that. So when you go for a census data and all, you'll be saying they will not directly ask you a question on income. They will be asking whether you are living in a pakka house or kacha house, how much you, whether you possess any land, whether you do some agriculture or not, whether you are getting some rental income, whether you have TV, whether you have fridge, whether you have washing machine, whether you have a two-wheeler in your house, whether you have a bike or a moped or a car, whether you have air conditioner in your home, all these things they'll be asking, because with the assets possessed, they will assess your, what to say, income level, whether you are rich or poor. So there are different criteria. Directly or indirectly, you are getting information from the respondent and getting the correct data from them. That's what it means. Okay. So I told you about the scaling. Okay, this is the scale. Like you see in this chart, scale characteristics, users in marking, and possible statistics. Okay, that can be applied for this scale. First one is nominal. There are 4 types of, like, nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio scales are there. Nominal scale is identify single definition of numbers, like brands, gender, race, okay, colors, type of stores, regions, use, non-use, like, dislike, and any variable to which numbers can be associated for identification. So, like gender, male and female, or others, like transgender, something like that you are giving now. So 1, 2, 3, like that, you can have a numbering for them. Okay. Definite. Okay. It's nominal. It is inclusive of the criteria. Okay. Like that we can say. Possible statistics are frequency distribution, mode, percentage, binomial test, and then chi-square test, and Cronbach, Cohen's Q. These are some of the statistical techniques. So that can be used for analyzing the data collected by using a nominal variable in your questionnaire. Okay. Ordinal is number order, like attitudes, preferences, opinions, social classes, occupation. So these are ordinal. Like there is an order for that. Okay. Order of your preference, order of your opinion, social class, whether you are upper class, middle class, lower class, like that. So there are different, what to say, you can say median, all the ones from nominal scale plus median, quartiles, deciles, percentiles, and other tests. Okay, other Spearman's row or Kushal-Wallis test, U test, all these things can be applied. So, because why we are very particular about the statistics is, later on you are having a questionnaire with a nominal scale and you want to say that, sir, I wanted to apply t-test or something like that. No, it is not possible. So your questionnaire itself should have the way in which the data is collected. There only you can apply this kind of statistics. That's why questionnaire formation itself, you have to decide your what analysis part also. Any researcher who is trying to understand the any researcher wanted to decide their questionnaire, at that point of time itself, you should have this what decided your statistical techniques. Okay, interval is comparison of intervals, like attitude, opinions, awareness, preference, index, numbers, etc. So again, you can see all the tests here, like all the ones from nominal and ordinal scales, average, interval, total, average amplitude or average deviation, standard deviation, Z test, T test, F test, analysis of variance, Pearson, all these things can be applied. The next scale is ratio. Ratio is comparison of absolute measures like age, price, number of consumers, scale, volume, income, inheritance, all these things are in scale. Like, for example, income, you say 100 to 1000. 1001 to 5000, 5001 to 10,000, like that. We have a scale, okay, ratio, okay, that is called as. Again, the tests you can apply is like all the ones, and geometric average, harmonic average, and coefficient variation, all these things you can prove. So these are scales, okay. So what are the types of measurements and what are the types of scale you can use for that? It's given here. Like for a single item scale, paired comparison scale, or multiple choice scale, constant sum scale, Q sort scale. These are some of the types of scales that can be used, and multiple item scale like Likert scale, staple scale, or Thurston scale. I will be seeing examples. Like you can say multiple choice question, single question with multiple alternatives. We have already seen this used for collecting nominal type of data. For analysis, different numbers are coded in different alternatives and employed with statistical research. Example, you can say what are the different types of credit card you have: Visa, MasterCard, American Express, etc. You know, pictorial thing. Like respondents are asked to rank attributes on pictorial scale of agreement. Like use like you see hate, dislike, a neutral, like, love. So people will be interested in kind of what is it, filling this kind of questionnaire. As I told you, rank order scale, like ranking. You see the example given in the screen. Respondent rank different attribute generates ordinal data here. What using a scale of 0, not all at all important, to 5. What is that? 0 is not at all important. 5 is very important. So you have to, what to say, speed of service, okay, not at all important or very important, like that. Friendliness of the staff, helpfulness of the staff, value, how you are putting the numbers here based on the 0 to 5 thing, okay, or no opinion you can give. So the different kind of things can be used for different kinds of questions, okay, that's what. Continuous rating scales are there. Respondents are asked to mark a proper place on a line scale depicted by 2 extreme points. You can see here: highly satisfied, highly dissatisfied, highly satisfied, 0 to 100. Like you see, like how people are, what is the marking their thing. So in between also some people can mark, okay. So these kind of things may not be, continuous rating scale will not be used in social science research because complicated scoring is there. That's why normally social science researchers avoid this continuous rating scale. These are some popularly used by us, okay, like Likert or summated scales used for evaluating the attitude of people, contain different attributes expressed by series of statements. One is respondent opinion is recorded in 3-point, 5-point, 7-point scale. The sum and average are calculated across the scale item of the respondent. So many standard questionnaires use this kind of, what is it, things. Like steps in constructing this Likert scale is given here. Like construct the statement, both positive and negative, that reflect the attitude towards the issue or a question. Then administer statement to small group among the sample, code and analyze the response, calculate the total scores of the response, compare the response score for each item, eliminate the non-discriminative items, and then construct finalize the statement or questions. So this is how we try to make a Likert scale. These are some of the steps in which we make a Likert scale. You see the different items of Likert scale are given. 5-point scale, 7-point scale. In 5-point scale, you say satisfaction, likeliness, level of concern, agreement, frequency, awareness, familiarity, quality, important. You see satisfaction, very, very, very dissatisfied to very satisfied. You see the lower the number, lower the marking. If you add the, what to say, for example, when you are coding it for 1, so when you have very low score, you are not satisfied. When you have very high score, you are very much satisfied. Like that only they will be coding this thing. You see, very unlikely is 1, very likely is 5. So based on your opinion, the number, okay, when you add the numbers, so you have to always have this kind of, what to say, progressing thing. When something negative, it should have low score. When something positive, it should have high score. Then only the scale will, you can properly analyze the scale. You can always, all the scales you can see like that. Very unimportant to very important. You see agreement, strongly agree to strongly disagree to strongly agree. Strongly agree as 7 in 7-point scale. So yeah, all these things are ordered in such a way that when you analyze the data, that will reflect in your analysis. So this is informed consent. Informed consent involves providing a potential subject with adequate and comprehensive information of the study, providing ample opportunity for questions from the subject, and continuing to provide them information as the ethical investigation progresses. So this is based on the ethical things. I don't know how many of you have ethical committee in your organization, but I think it's mandatory for many journals to publish your papers or research. And doing your PhD itself, then ethical approval is needed for your thing, and then you have to follow all the ethical norms. If you are not following, then it may not, what to say, be good for. It's not a good research, we can say. So both written and verbal consent for participation in research must involve an informed consent process. So the researcher should present the information and discuss the issue with the potential subjects on more than one occasion and allow period of time to elapse between imparting the information and requesting a signature on the consent form. Like you can see, the various types of things are there that you have to make them understand what they are going to do and then get there. Normally, people go and give the form, get the signature without informing whether it's informed consent or not, and then give the questionnaire. You have to answer something like that. They do not. It's not actually ethical. During this waiting period, potential subjects should be encouraged to discuss their possible participation with their family members, close friends, and trusted advisors. These are informed consent thing that we have to follow in a research. So these are some of the content, okay, like the statement that the participant can withdraw anytime for any reason, like risk or discomfort, statement of any benefits, example, education benefit, all these things has to be mentioned here. The participation is voluntary, confidential of the data, you should say, assurance, and then contact information, and then it should be provided. So you say like any photographic or video or thing that you are recording will only use for research purpose, or you will erase it, or it will be destroyed at a later point of view. So you have to get a statement if you want to use a video clip of the recording and other thing, additional approval in writing, all these things should be obtained. So these are some of the things for interview survey. Like an interview survey, structured conversation where one person asks question. So this is what I told you, the difference between the questionnaire and the interview method. Again, it asks questions who have knowledge, experience, or opinion on particular topic or subject matter. And data collected from the interview is often transcribed, coded, and analyzed to identify patterns, themes, and trends. There are different guidelines for like appearance of and demeanor of the interviewer, familiarity with the questionnaire and questions asked. So the interviewer itself should know about the questionnaire very well, and then he or she should be capable of posting the question, and it should be recorded properly, following question wording exactly, recording response exactly, and probing the response. All these things are very important for interview. So we have different types of interviews like structured, unstructured, semi-structured, and focus group interviews. Like structured interview, you have a set of questions, predetermined questions. The interview follows a script, strict script. Unstructured, someone told, like you have a set of questions, mostly used in qualitative analysis. Okay, you go with the only a type of question. You may also, it's not structured, it's unstructured. You may, based on the respondent, you can change it also. Semi-structured interviews, it's not what's fully completed. Okay. FG focus group interviews also. Anything anyone want to ask?
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. You can continue, sir. You can continue, sir.
Exactly, something like what we have told about questionnaire also applies for research interviews, like interviewer bias, sampling, ethical concern and confidential, respecting differences. All these things are also there, but there it is a little different because the interviewer or the researcher is not in direct contact with the people. You go meet them, give and come, or send the link to fill it up. But here there is lot of one person, the interviewer, the researcher itself is going and meeting the respondent. Lot of bias will be there. Okay, interviewer bias will be there. So the way in which we are posting the question may vary, and how you are selecting the sample, whether you are following the sampling population or not, all these things will be there. And whether you are giving the ethical consent to them, or reading all these things properly or not, getting their consent. When you have the personal data with you, how confidentially you are going to maintain the data, all these things. And you may be from a different thing, and the respondent may be from a different criteria. How you are trying to respect the differences between you and the respondent, all these things have a implication on the study. So these are like we have different new technologies for survey research, computer assisted personal interviewing, computer assisted self interviewing, computer assisted self administered questionnaire, touchstone data entry, voice recognition, all these things are there. So do's and don'ts, like consistent wording between the invitation and the survey, use plain and simple language, share the results of the study with everyone who completes the survey, plan time, this thing, be aware of technical limitation, consume less time of the respondents. And don'ts is don't force the respondent to scroll down the screen. Or don't use technical terms, don't ask for the respondent personal details or passwords, don't change the terminologies used earlier, do not confuse the respondent with too much instructions. Okay, these are all the don'ts. So we can also use secondary data. So far we have been only saying about how primary data has to be collected. Secondary data also can be used for survey research. One is large scale survey taken for several months, even more than a year progress for conceptualization data in hand. Secondary data is a form where research, you know about secondary data. Okay, the initial data archives where books and libraries or later evolved punch. A lot of what to say online other assisted thing. How to conduct secondary research is, identify the topic of research, identify research resource, contact existing data, set collector, combine and compare, analyze data. All these things are this thing. So these are some of the published source of secondary data, like government publications, reports, committees. You can go through this. Okay, this thing. And a lot of secondary sources are available for this. International publications, or you say sources of online. So this PPT does not have about sampling. I have one more, just because we have 20 more minutes. I will be sharing that also to you. 1 minute.
Dear participants, the session not yet completed.
No, no.
Shall we be sharing?
Share
Yes,
the
yes,
wait,
yes,
wait.
yes, yes. Yes, sir, yes, sir. Shall we be sharing another five participants? Kindly please.
So I have one query.
Ah,
Sir, what are some of the common mistakes which any researcher does by any chance during this survey research?
common mistakes. There is no what to say, like it depends upon the research the researcher conducts. Normally sampling, okay, sampling error will be there. The under this bias about like what to say, bias on the sampling population will be there. So always the researcher's bias will be there. Like we have some preconceived notion, or we have certain perception. Normally, we will not get out from that. Okay, we that's why I told you the example also. Before trying to understand a population, don't know much about them. Okay, go with a blank, what is a blank, what is a mind, and then try to understand them, and you will get the what to say. What we say, the essence of the thing that you want to get. If you
Mhm.
already try to understand them and then go in the sense, okay, I'm not telling about language and culture, but
Mhm.
about the particular group of people you are trying to understand. Okay, so that is one of the main bias, main problem or a mistake any researcher will do. Okay. And as you know, anyone cannot, what to say, do a perfect, 100% perfect research. Always there will be some limitations of any study that is going.
Right. Yeah.
This is my
Thank you so
opinion. If you have any options now, you can tell us also.
Like I have experience of working with disabled people, and I've prepared a survey questionnaire. So
Hmm.
whenever I shoot the questionnaire to them, sometimes I get responses, and in the responses, sometimes they don't answer some of the questions.
Hmm.
So in that case, means I get confused how to do the calculations, and means I don't understand what kind of mistake is that and what should I do next.
In this case only, our piloting or pre-testing will be helping us. Okay, like when you have a good number of sample for your piloting, so when you administer the question, you can understand some question. Many people will not be answering. So how to extract that information? Like what to say? Uh, Having some indirect questions. Okay, like if sometimes if you ask directly, they may not reveal that. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Uh, so you can have some indirect questions and then modify your questionnaire in that case. Okay, when more number of people are again and again not willing to answer that kind of questions.
So, sir, then also question arises about their authenticity. Are they giving the ideal answer or their own point of view?
That is always there, ma. That is we can say sampling. How do they? Yeah, in any research, that is not avoidable. Okay, uh,
Mm-hmm.
we have to rely 100% on the respondent. How
Mm-hmm.
whatever answer they are giving, we will be taking it as genuine.
Oh, right, sir. Okay, thank you so much, sir.
So one part of our topic of discussion is sampling. Okay, many people would have heard of sampling, and we have a population that cannot be studied because time, resources is not available. For example, Government of India is going to conduct census. They conducted the census in 2011. Now it is already 15 years. Indian government itself cannot do that. The whole what we say census survey they cannot do. A lot of money, time is involved. People help, so we cannot conduct those kind of things. So we are trying to understand a population. We need a sample. Okay, the picture says population is there. For example, 100 people are there. You are trying to understand 10 people from that, and then say that this sample is representative of the population. So what are the techniques that we use in understanding sampling methods? Like there are two things. One is probability method and another one is non-probability. Okay. Like one is the simple random sampling. That is probability method. Clustered sampling, that is also probability method. Systematic sampling and stratified random sampling. So one by one will be, these are probability methods. Non-probability is convenience sampling, consecutive sampling, quota sampling, purposive or judgmental sampling, or snowball sampling. I will explain this. Before that, you have to understand the characteristics of a good sample. That is, it should be representative of the population, absence of sampling error, and then adequacy, independence, homogeneity should be there, accuracy and completeness should be there. These are the good characteristics of a sample. So probability sampling is like, what is it? We have different methods, okay, like in probability sampling. Simple random sampling is there, SRS. What is that? So you have the list of respondents, okay? You are trying to, in an order, the first respondent will be taken, 10th respondent, then 20th respondent, then 30th respondent. Like that, you select randomly from there, from the population. That is simple random, okay? Systematic sampling is like there are different criteria of people in your research. You are trying to systematically select them using some criteria. That is systematic sampling. Stratified random sampling is your samples are stratified. For example, professors are there, associate professors are there, assistant professors are there. So you want to select from this now, how much professors should be taken as sample, how many associate professors has to be taken, or how much assistant professors has to be taken as sample. Like based on the stratification on their criteria, you give them. Cluster is like you take in clusters. Okay, a particular cluster you take, and then from there a sample is derived. So in non-probability, we have convenience sampling, purposive. Convenience, for your convenience, you go and select the people. Purposively, you know this person is will be a good sample for me. That is purposive sampling. Snowball is you don't know the exact list of respondents who are there. For example, you want to get some peculiar kind of sample whom they only will be knowing. You want to do something on a transgender research, on transgender. Okay, so you go first, you find one person, and then from there you try to ask contact of the next person. Slowly, you try to that person will introduce another person. That person will introduce another. Like that, you try to do that. That is snowball sampling, and quota sampling is there based on certain, like it's like stratified only, but you have certain quotas, okay? So, but there is no criterion of selection, okay? So probability and non-probability is here there is a concrete list. Here there is no concrete list of respondents.
Sir,
So,
excuse me, sir.
yeah,
One thing. Can I speak, sir?
yeah, please.
Okay. So in my opinion, research based on questionnaire will not get the exact what we want to get the goal. Because as one of the participants, she's working on the disability, some questions are not answered. So in my opinion, in view, in addition to this questionnaire, field research, I mean, personal the collection, those who are involved in this disability, then or whatsoever, it will be far better. Then what is your opinion, sir?
No, again, I'm telling you this thing, okay? Interview schedule or questionnaire depends upon how, what is the purpose of the research? What is the way in which our research has to be conducted? Mostly, I'm telling when there is no, we have seen that, less time is there. Or when you want to do intensive research, you can go for a interview schedule method itself. Okay, that is more relevant and more reliable also. But when you don't have time, when you want to do for example, you want to present a paper in a conference, they are giving you a short deadline. You want to prepare a paper immediately. Now you can go only for a questionnaire method, and then you can collect immediate data and analyze it and try to respond. So it depends upon the time and how much time we can spend, how much cost you can spend on that. All these things are there. Okay, so I'm not telling that that is totally wrong or totally right, but it depends upon the person who is doing the research and what type of research they are doing. Okay.
Yeah, if it is interview schedule is also included, it will be far better. That's what I mentioned.
Yeah, interview schedule is better. it is the best option.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So probability, in probability sampling, the unit of population are not selected by the researcher. It is already there. Okay. There are certain procedures which ensures this, like characteristics of probability sampling. The process of sampling is automatic. Each unit in the sampling has some known probability of entering the sample. Different methods are adopted in selecting probability sample. All it has its own advantages and disadvantages. Types of probability sample are random, systematic, stratified, and the cluster sampling. Okay. So one by one we can see, like random sampling. You have a list of population and randomly you are selecting the population. It is used for selecting. We have already random may not be an identical representation of the population. Population may differ, could be big or small. Systematic is that we have seen it is a variation of simple random technique where frame of population is available, or when a population is accurately listed and it is finite, a method of systematic sampling is used. Okay. So a systematic selection will provide a sample with approximate a random sample. It is also random only, but you are trying to systematically select. Okay. Simple random is randomly you select from the list. Here I told you now the first person, fourth person, eighth person, 12th person, 16th person. Like that, you have a kind of systematic thing. Stratified is again based on the strata I explained you. Okay, that thing. Cluster is like a cluster sampling is designed in which the sample consists of multiple cases, like school population, family, classroom, city, system. So from each cluster, you take one sample. This also I explained you. Quota is again, the population is first segmented into mutually exclusive subgroups, just as in stratified sampling. Then judgment used to select subjects or units from each segment based on specific proportion. So you again, it's like stratified, but you try to give some quota for each and every sample. Convenient, you know, who are for example, from a population of 100, 10 you select on your convenience. Purposive again or judgmental. Okay. So I cannot go to fetch all the sample. Whoever is coming to me, I will call them and then administer the questionnaire. Snowball also I explained you. You meet the first person, you get contact of 2 or 3 persons, and then that 3 person will give you 5, 6 persons, and 5, 6 person will give again and 12 persons, and 12 persons will give 24%. Like that, the sample will go on increase. So again, this thing we have already seen, secondary data. So I think with this, we come to an end to our presentation. Any questions? I'm ready to answer. Please. Because in the final thing, due to lack of time, I wanted to, speed up. Okay.
Dear participants, there is a 5 more minutes. The floor is open for the discussion. So kindly raise your questions to the expertise for clarifying their questions regarding. You can put it through the chat box also. Yes, sir, your voice is very low.
So many people are sending feedback. Very good, informative session. Thank you for your feedbacks. And again, all these things cannot be handled in 2 hours. A lot of time is needed for each and everything to be explained. So I may be jumping somewhere or fast also in my. So excuse me for that. Anything you can ask. Not about the session also, you want to know about something. Many people are there. I don't know how many PG students are here. A lot of researchers will be there, I think.
Sir, I have a question. Like we suppose we administer questionnaire, and at the same time we are using unstructured interview. So we have taken a same dimension for questionnaire and as well as the interview, but we are getting a very contradictory response. So how to analyze and how to address that?
These two are what to say? You are saying about you are having a structured and unstructured thing. Then it goes like both. You are trying to put a mixed method of doing your research. Nowadays, now people earlier people are very comfortable with quantitative methods, and nowadays some people are very what to say, comfortable with qualitative also. So now you are telling about a kind of mixed thing, because when you go with a structured and an unstructured questionnaire, the way in which you have to analyze the thing itself is different. And you cannot say that this is the what to say, we are thinking that all the respondents should give similar type of answers. Okay, it's not like that. Okay, in any research, any respondent can give any kind of answer. Okay, it may be what to say, for the opinion that you are asking or against the thing, that is the original opinion. Okay, so you have to record as it is, and then you have to try to convert it into your thing. So what all things that you have collected with the structured questionnaire, you should do a quantitative analysis. Okay, for unstructured, now you can do a thematic analysis or some analysis which is used for qualitative findings. Okay, that can be useful for while writing your thesis or paper. Okay, so those kind of observation are very useful. That's what I told you. When you are having an open-ended questionnaire, people give different ideas. What all you are not thinking also they will be giving. But people are not going for that because it consumes a lot of time coding it and putting it in a particular format itself. It's very difficult for us. So that's why we are going for a closed-ended question, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. I get the numbers and try to analyze it. I will tell you an instance. Okay, one of my scholar she completed her research very recently, got her degree also. She did a quantitative thing, but lot of questions she was not able to get the answers in her research. So then I suggested her to go for a qualitative thing. So then she again went to the field, and then she tried to meet people personally, and then she started understanding the original originality of the problem, or what people are thinking in reality. That helped her a lot to write her thesis very effectively. Okay, many problems now in a closed-ended questionnaire or a structured questionnaire, you will not have answers. But when it comes to an unstructured questionnaire or in a qualitative study, then you will have a lot of answers for your questions. So this involves a mixed method. Nowadays, it's very famous, and many researchers have been done using this.
Yes,
Thank you,
okay,
sir.
sir. We have come to our end. The time is 8 o'clock. So
Hello,
formally,
good
we are
evening.
going to end our session.
I have a question, please, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Sir, actually, my research population is small, so I decide to study whole population. But 10% of population denied to fill my questionnaire. So now, what is my sampling method?
No, when you are having a how much is your population size?
My population size is 350.
Uh,
So I decide to whole population, and 10% not give me fill my questionnaire. Then what is my sampling method?
Only 10% of your population filled the questionnaire,
Not filled. 10% not filled.
not filled.
Yes.
One thing you understand, when we say study population and the sample, in some cases, in many cases, I'm not saying many cases, we cannot, go to the entire population and do the study. In your case, you have reached 90%. So your validity is very high because you have you can what is the sampling method you have adopted? You're saying,
Now, what we can say sampling method.
It's not sampling. You say census method, okay? Because you have done with everyone. Only 10% is not that is not a big issue, okay? This is like you cannot
So
say
now
it's.
I can say that census method is correct.
Yeah. To my
Okay.
knowledge, it's census method only because under 90% you have covered, na?
Okay. But Srinagar census method, each and every unit of covered was in census method.
Yeah, there will be some what is the percentage of thing that we can leave. Okay, always we don't have 100%. What to say? Like when we say statistically, also 5%, 1%. What to say? 1% or 5% we say that is the error that we count. So you have 10% of error we can say.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, sir. So a very good interactive session with the participants and a resource person. So we are going to wind up this session of today. On behalf of everyone present here, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed resource person, Dr. Prabhakar sir, Professor of Sociology, Department of Social Sciences, School of Social Science and Languages, Vellore Institute of Technology, for sharing your valuable insight with us today. And thank you so much, sir. We will meet you soon. And thank you for every participants to make this interactive session much more interesting. Thank you so much. You can leave.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the audience for participating in this. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. The host will be reminded to end the session.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.